Let's now bring some more perspective into this. We're joined in studio by top Nairobi lawyer Ahmednasir Abdullahi. Sir, karibu sana to KTN.
Thank you very much.
Studio. Now, you said that the best that Justice David Maraga could get was fourth position. Did you completely get it wrong?
No, I didn't say that. I just ran an opinion poll on my Twitter handle. But I think before we go there, I think to say congratulations to the incoming Chief Justice is in order. And I congratulate him on the nomination. And as a member of the legal fraternity, I wish him the best of luck because the task ahead of his is enormous and the challenge quite heavy.
Many Kenyans seem to have been taken aback. Were you surprised by the choice of the Judicial Service Commission?
Not really. I mean, in my view, he was among 4 candidates I thought any of them will make. And I've said that before. I mean, there were 4 candidates who really performed very well, who had a very good track record. And I ranked him among one of those 4 candidates.
All right.
Yes.
But you're on record saying that if the Judicial Service Commission did not give the job to Makau Muto, who you ranked very highly in the race for the CJ position, that they will have to explain to Kenyans that the nominee that they had chosen had what it takes. Do you think Maraga has what it takes?
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, they were very strong candidates. I mean, if you look on paper, I mean, they were they were candidates with enormous, academic credentials. But, ultimately, the people who decide who's the right candidate are the members of the JAC. And if 9 members of the JAC, decide that that's the best candidate, then he must be the best candidate. Yes.
In your opinion, what made Maraga get the job? You have been part of the JAC before. What were they looking for?
I think, in my view, Maraga got the job because he was not at the extreme of the... He's not on the extreme of the pendulum, one side or the other. I mean, because... there were candidates which were very strong pro-government candidates, and everybody thought that the government was pulling levers in their favor. Then there were candidates who were strongly independent or on the other side of the pendulum. And my view is that Maraga was in the middle, someone who was not pro-government, someone whom you cannot say was sort of any extremist. So the fact that he was in the middle really helped him, in my view.
All right.
Yes.
During his interviews, he did say that he wouldn't work on a Saturday, being a Seventh-day Adventist. You have been part of presidential petition proceedings, and they can, go until on a Saturday. What does that make him?
My personal view on religion is that I think it helps if a Chief Justice or any person, in my view, is a good Christian or a good Muslim. Because when you subscribe to one of the main religions of the world, there are certain values you subscribe to, and those values come in handy when you are in this office of the Chief Justice. I mean, if he says, for example, that he can't sit on Saturday, I mean, there's no problem. They can sit on a Sunday, as long as, it's in tandem with his religion. So for me, that he cannot sit one day in every 5 years, it's not a big deal.
All right.
Yes.
We're talking about what does Justice Maraga just stand for? Let's take a look at what David Maraga stands for in terms of access to justice. Take a look.
Access to justice has several aspects of it. There is the geographical access, where you need to take the courts close to the people. Then there is the legal access. People have complaints in which they are seriously prejudiced, and unless they are assisted by lawyers, they may not even get a remedy. As Chief Justice, if I'm given an opportunity to be a Chief Justice, that's one of the acts I will operationalize very, very fast. If you don't have money to get lawyers to represent indigent litigants or convicted persons, the court will not move.
So, many lawyers, your colleagues, have described Justice David Maraga following this as a safe custodian of Kenya's local jurisprudence. Would you agree with them?
I think that's principally why he was given this job. I mean, the Judicial Service Commission must have thought that in considering the kind of candidates who have applied, considering the diversity they bring in, considering the general political dynamics of the country, Justice Maraga probably is the best or the safe pair of hands to give to this job. And I think that's really what tilted in his favor.
Right. If you can just bring us up to speed, what really happens in the scoring? How is the scoring system done?
You see, I mean, the JC has basically three components. One is their judges, and there are three judges. Then there are two lawyers. Then the rest are, apart from the Chief Justice, are laymen. So you categorize the number of areas which you will question the candidate on, and then you assign each question to each area to a certain commissioner. Then each commissioner will mark the candidate of 100%,
right.
And the candidate that scores the best average of all the score is appointed into a given position.
Now, his name will go to the president, who will, of course, forward it to Parliament. Is there any chance of him not getting the job?
I think when you consider his background, really, in terms of, when he was a lawyer in Nakuru, I mean, when he was a judge in Mombasa, in many places, when he was a Court of Appeal judge, and the kind of, assignments he did. I mean, he was in charge of the election, components of the courts, and he did this Tribunal of Justice Mutava. There's a very good chance he will sail through in a very easy manner, and I think he will not have a lot of difficulties. I mean, he doesn't have skeletons, or he's not associated, with either, extreme political views. So, I mean, he's a very safe bear of hands.
All right. Finally, what, in a nutshell, if he is given the job, how will David Maraga, being Chief Justice, what kind of a Chief Justice will he be?
No, I think he faces enormous challenges, and I think there are 4 huge challenges he faces. One is that he faces a Supreme Court, the highest court in the country, that's really moribund, almost dead. I mean, it's so divided, it's so factional,
right.
It's so confused and he will be the president of that court. So his first task is to bring some sense into that court. Secondly, and another difficult task he will face is that he faces a government that's very intrusive. A government that doesn't trust the courts, or a government that wants to influence, how the politics or how decision-making of the court process goes on. Thirdly, he faces a judiciary that's fairly corrupt. And that's a huge task he will face. How do you bring confidence back? How do you bring confidence back to the judiciary? And thirdly, he faces a legal profession, lawyers, who are main contributors of corruption in this court. So, I mean, his plate is full, and I don't envy him. He will have a full menu on his table right from the day he started this job.
He has come out as uncompromising. Will it be easy to push over by the administration?
No, I think the good thing that goes for him, he is determined, he is focused, and he knows these challenges. And if you look at how he handled the Mutava Tribunal and the decision they have made, I think he's a man who appreciates the difficulties he has. I think he has the tools, I think he has the background, and I think he has the personality to push the agenda that the former Chief Justice started in terms of reforming the judiciary, in terms of making it access, in terms of, addressing some of the huge problems that face it.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Ahmednasir Abdullahi, lawyer in Nairobi and a former member of the Judicial Service Commission. Now, what is your take on this? We're asking on our big question discussion, do you think Justice David Maraga is the best choice for the position of Chief Justice out of the 12 candidates? Do keep that conversation going. Our SMS line, 22155. Join this online on Twitter at Ben_Kitili, at KTN News, at KTN Kenya. The hashtag is Supreme Choice. We are taking a quick commercial break. Don't go too far.